My name is Millie, and I'm 62 years old. For most of my life, I believed I was invisible to the one person whose approval I craved most, my father. It was a chilly evening in Portland, Oregon, when everything began to shift. The autumn air carried the scent of rain and fallen leaves as I sat in my small apartment, staring at the acceptance letter from Portland State University. My hands trembled as I read it for the 5th time that day. At my age, going back to college seemed absurd to everyone who knew me, but it was Dad's reaction that hurt the most. College? At 60? He'd scoffed during our last Sunday dinner, his weathered hands gripping his coffee mug. Millie, you've been a secretary your whole life. What's the point now? I looked around my apartment, the modest furniture I'd collected over decades, the photographs of my children on the mantle, the life I'd built after my divorce 15 years ago. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine. Still, something had always been missing. That gnawing feeling that I'd never quite measured up, never quite proven myself worthy of my father's pride. Dad was 78 now, a retired construction foreman who'd built half the buildings in downtown Portland with his own hands. He was strong, stubborn, and had always valued hard work and practical skills over what he called fancy book learning. My brothers Tom and Mike had followed in his footsteps. They were the sons he boasted about at the VFW hall. Then there was me, the daughter who'd gotten pregnant at 19, married hastily, and spent 30 years typing letters and answering phones. The daughter who'd never quite lived up to his expectations. But something changed last spring. My youngest, Emma, had graduated from nursing school, and watching her walk across that stage ignited something inside me. She'd hugged me afterward, tears streaming down both our faces, and whispered, "Mom, you always told me it's never too late to chase your dreams. When are you going to chase yours?" That question haunted me for weeks. What were my dreams? I'd spent so long being a wife, then a single mother, then just existing. But deep down, I'd always loved literature. As a teenager, I'd devoured books, written poetry, dreamed of teaching. Life had derailed those plans, but the passion never truly died. So I applied to college, business administration with a focus on nonprofits. I wanted to work with literacy programs, helping adults learn to read. I wanted to make a difference, to prove, to myself and to Dad, that I was more than just a secretary who'd made mistakes. The first day of classes arrived in September, and I was terrified. The campus buzzed with young students, their laughter and energy making me feel ancient. I clutched my notebook and walked into Introduction to Business Management, acutely aware of the curious glances. The professor, a kind woman in her 40s named Dr. Helena Chen, smiled warmly at me. "Welcome, everyone. I see we have a diverse group this semester, which is exactly what makes learning rich." I sat in the back, trying to be invisible, but Dr. Chen called on me during the discussion. My voice shook as I answered, drawing from my years of administrative work. To my surprise, she nodded enthusiastically. "Excellent insight, Millie. Real-world experience is invaluable." A young man named Jason, maybe 20, turned around and grinned. That was actually really helpful. Maybe I could do this after all. The weeks blurred together. Lectures, assignments, study groups. I worked my secretary job during the day at Henderson & Associates law firm, then rushed to evening classes. My boss, Mr. Henderson, had been surprisingly supportive. "Good for you, Millie. Never stop learning." But Dad remained skeptical. Every Sunday dinner at his house became an interrogation. "How's that college thing going?" he'd ask, his tone suggesting it was a hobby, not a serious pursuit. "Really well, Dad. I got an A on my first economics exam." He'd grunt and change the subject to Tom's latest construction project or Mike's promotion. My sister Laura tried to mediate. "Dad, you could at least congratulate her." "For what? Wasting time and money when she should be saving for retirement?" Those words stung more than he'd ever know, but I kept going. Winter descended on Portland with its typical gray persistence. Rain pelted my windshield as I drove from work to campus. It was mid-November, and midterms were approaching. I was exhausted, running on coffee and determination. My apartment had become a study bunker. Textbooks covered every surface, highlighters marking passages about organizational behavior and financial management. My daughter Emma called frequently to check on me. "Mom, are you sleeping enough?" "I'm fine, honey, just busy." "You sound tired." "Emma, I'm not quitting." My voice came out sharper than I intended. "Sorry, sweetie. I'm just stressed. I know, Mom. I'm proud of you. That warmth in her voice sustained me through the hardest days. The real challenge came in my nonprofit management class. We'd been assigned a major project, develop a complete business plan for a fictional nonprofit organization. It was worth 40% of our grade and required a presentation to the entire class. I chose to create a literacy program for adults, drawing from my own passion. I named it Second Chapter because it's never too late to start a new story. I worked obsessively on it, researching funding sources, volunteer recruitment strategies, community partnerships. My study group, Jason, a returning veteran named Marcus, and a recent graduate named Priya, met weekly at a coffee shop near campus. They'd become unexpected friends. Millie, this budget breakdown is incredible, Priya said, reviewing my work. How did you figure out all these grant opportunities? Years of filing and organizing gives you certain skills. I smiled. Marcus laughed. You're basically the group MVP. Their encouragement meant everything, especially during the lonely hours past midnight when I studied alone. Thanksgiving arrived, and the family gathered at Dad's house. The smell of roasting turkey filled the air as my brothers and their families crowded around the television. I helped Laura in the kitchen, my hands moving through the familiar motions. How's school really going? Laura asked quietly. It's hard, really hard, but I love it, Laura. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm becoming who I was always meant to be. She squeezed my hand. I'm sorry I laughed when you first told me. You're inspiring, Millie. During dinner, Dad raised his glass. I'm thankful for my family, for Tom's new contract downtown, for Mike's boys making the football team. He paused, looking around. For all the blessings we have, he didn't mention me, didn't acknowledge my journey. Tom cleared his throat. Dad, aren't you going to mention Millie's straight A's this semester? Dad's jaw tightened. College grades aren't the same as real accomplishments, son. The table went silent. I felt my face burn with humiliation and anger. I set down my fork carefully. Excuse me, I managed, standing. I need some air. I grabbed my coat and stepped onto the porch, the cold November air hitting my face. The rain had stopped, leaving everything wet and glistening. I wrapped my arms around myself, fighting tears. The door opened behind me. Laura appeared with my purse. Millie, don't let him... Why does he hate me? The words burst out. What did I do that was so terrible? So I got pregnant young. Does that mean I'm worthless forever? He doesn't hate you. No, Laura. He respects you. He respects the boys. But me? I'm just the daughter who disappointed him and never managed to make up for it. Laura's eyes filled with tears, but we both knew it felt true. I drove home through the dark streets, my heart heavy. I sat in my car for a long time, staring at my building. I could quit. I could make Dad happy by admitting he was right. But then I thought of Emma's face at her graduation. I thought of Jason and Marcus and Priya believing in me. I thought of that little girl inside me who'd once dreamed of more. I grabbed my bag and went inside. I had a presentation to perfect. December arrived with unexpected snow. The city transformed into a winter wonderland, but I barely noticed. Finals week loomed, and my presentation was scheduled for the last day of the semester. I rehearsed constantly. In my car during lunch breaks, in my apartment while cooking dinner. I'd created a PowerPoint with budget projections, implementation timelines, community impact assessments, everything a real nonprofit would need. Mr. Henderson caught me practicing in the break room one afternoon. Sounds impressive, Millie. When's the big day? Friday at 6. He studied me thoughtfully. You know, if this goes well, I might want to discuss something with you in the new year. We've been considering a pro bono program helping underserved communities. Could use someone with your skills and passion. My heart skipped. Really? Let's see how you do first. But yes, really. That conversation gave me wings. The night before my presentation, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. What if I forgot everything? What if I froze? What if Dad was right? My phone buzzed. A text from Emma. Mom, you've got this. I believe in you. I smiled in the darkness. Friday arrived cold and clear. I called in sick to work and spent the day preparing. I pressed my best navy blazer. I practiced my opening remarks until they felt natural. At 5 o'clock, I drove to campus. I sat in my car, taking deep breaths, trying to calm my racing heart. My phone rang. Dad's number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me press accept. Hello? Millie. His gruff voice sounded strange, uncertain. Laura told me about your presentation tonight. Did she? She said it's important. Something about a nonprofit plan? Yes, Dad. It's worth 40% of my grade. It's about a literacy program for adults. Silence stretched between us. Then, what time does it start? 6. Why? Just wondering. Good luck, I suppose. He hung up before I could respond. I stared at the phone, confused. I gathered my materials and headed inside. The classroom was filling with students, all looking nervous. Jason gave me a thumbs up. Dr. Chen smiled warmly from the front. All right, everyone, let's begin. Remember, you're presenting to potential investors. Make us believe in your vision. 3 students presented before me, each one impressive and confident. My hands trembled as my turn approached. Next, we have Millie Thompson presenting second chapter, a literacy program for adult learners. I stood on shaking legs and walked to the front. I connected my laptop, pulled up my presentation, and turned to face the class. That's when I saw him. Standing in the back of the classroom, wearing his old brown jacket and holding his weathered baseball cap in his hands, was my father. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. Dad stood there, looking uncomfortable among the college students, but he was there. His eyes met mine, and he gave a small nod. Dr. Chen looked back at me with a gentle smile. Whenever you're ready, Millie. I swallowed hard. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I want to tell you about second chapter, a literacy program designed to help adults who never learned to read properly or who want to improve their skills to create better lives. My voice grew stronger as I spoke. I clicked through my slides, explaining the statistics. 21% of American adults are functionally illiterate. I talked about the shame many adults feel, how they hide their struggles, how poverty and lack of education trap families for generations. I chose this project, I continued, because I understand what it's like to feel like you've missed your chance, to believe there's no point in trying, but I also know that it's never too late to start a new chapter. I glanced at Dad. He was listening intently. I explained the program structure: free classes in community centers, volunteer tutors, partnerships with libraries and workforce programs. I showed the budget breakdown, grant funding strategies, corporate sponsorships. I presented testimonials from similar programs showing success rates. But beyond the numbers, I said, reaching my conclusion, this program is about dignity. It's about giving people tools to advocate for themselves, to help their children with homework, to apply for better jobs. It's about respecting that everyone deserves a second chance, regardless of age or circumstances. I finished and looked out at the class. For a heartbeat, silence. Then Jason started clapping, followed by Marcus, then the entire class. Dr. Chen was beaming. Millie, that was exceptional. Your passion shines through every element. The budget is realistic. The implementation strategy is thorough. And you spoke from the heart. That's what makes the difference between a good nonprofit and a great one. She turned to the class. This is what I hope you all take away. Yes, business plans matter, but nonprofit work is about believing in people. Millie embodies that belief. As the class applauded again, I looked to the back. Dad was still there, and his eyes were glistening. He was crying. After class ended, students congratulated me. Jason shook my hand. Millie, if you ever start that program, I'll volunteer. That was incredible. Me too, Marcus added. Dr. Chen pulled me aside. I meant every word. This deserves an A+. But have you considered actually pursuing this? I have contacts at foundations that fund literacy programs. I'd be happy to make introductions. I'd love that. Thank you. As she left, I gathered my things slowly. Dad waited in the back corner. We stood looking at each other. Then he walked forward, his boots heavy on the floor. Dad, Let me talk first, he interrupted gruffly. I was wrong. Those 3 words hung in the air. I've been wrong about a lot when it comes to you, Millie. I told myself I was being practical, but the truth is, I was scared. Scared? He nodded. When you got pregnant at 19, I blamed myself, thought I'd failed as a father, and instead of supporting you, I pulled away, made you feel like you disappointed me. His voice cracked. But you never disappointed me. I disappointed you. Tears spilled down my cheeks. I watched you tonight, he continued, his eyes wet, talking about dignity and second chances, and I realized you were talking about yourself too. You've been fighting to prove you're worthy of respect, and I'm the one who made you feel like you had to prove anything. Dad, I'm proud of you, Millie. So damn proud. Not just because of this presentation, though it was incredible, I'm proud because you're brave. You raised 3 kids mostly alone. You supported yourself with dignity. And now, at 62, you're chasing dreams. He wiped his eyes. You're remarkable. And I've been a fool not to tell you that every single day. I couldn't hold back the sobs. I stepped forward, and he wrapped his arms around me, holding me tight the way he used to when I was little. I'm sorry, he whispered. I'm so sorry for all the years I made you feel less than. You were always enough, more than enough. We stood there in that empty classroom, healing wounds that had festered for decades. Finally, we pulled apart. Dad smiled through his tears. So, when do you graduate? Because I want to be in the front row, cheering the loudest. I laughed, wiping my face. May. But Dad, that's 6 months away. I'll be there. And I'm coming to every presentation, every event between now and then if you'll let me. I'd like that, I whispered. We walked out into the cold December night. The campus sparkled with Christmas lights. You know, Dad said as we reached the parking lot, your grandmother, my mother, she never learned to read properly. Only made it to 3rd grade before she had to work. She hid it her whole life. Maybe that's why your presentation hit me so hard. She would have loved a program like yours. I never knew that. She was ashamed, but she shouldn't have been. Life dealt her a hard hand, and she did the best she could. He looked at me, just like you've done, just like you're still doing. He hugged me one more time before getting into his truck. See you Sunday? I'll be there. As I drove home, I felt lighter than I had in years. My phone buzzed with texts from my family congratulating me, but it was Dad's text that made me pull over. I love you, Millie. Always have, even when I was too stubborn to show it. You've taught this old man that it's never too late for a second chapter. Thank you for never giving up, on your dreams or on me, Dad. I sat reading those words over and over, letting them heal places inside me I'd thought would hurt forever. The graduation day arrived in May with perfect sunshine. The campus was alive with celebration. I wore my cap and gown, the royal blue fabric feeling surreal and wonderful. My entire family came. Emma, my sons David and Aaron with their families, Laura, Tom and Mike with their wives and kids, and in the front row, wearing a suit I'd never seen, was Dad. When they called my name, Millie Thompson, Bachelor of Science in Business Administration, summa cum laude, the cheers from my section were deafening. I walked across that stage and received my diploma. As I turned to face the crowd, I found Dad. He was standing, clapping harder than anyone, tears streaming down his face. That image is burned into my memory forever. At the celebration dinner, Dad stood to make a toast. To Millie, he said, voice thick with emotion, who taught all of us that courage isn't about never being afraid. It's about being terrified and doing it anyway. Who showed us it's never too late to become who you were meant to be. Who reminded me that the best thing a father can do is believe in his children. He looked at me. I'm honored to be your father, Millie. Today and always. The table erupted in cheers and tears. Later, Dad pulled me aside. I have something for you. He handed me a small box. Inside was a silver bookmark engraved, for Millie, who taught me about second chapters. Love, Dad. For all those books you'll read, he said. And for that literacy program you're going to start. I nodded, unable to speak. Good, because I'm going to be your first major donor. He pulled out an envelope containing a check that made my eyes widen. What I should have invested in you years ago. Your grandmother would want her story to help others. I hugged him tightly. This stubborn man who'd finally learned to show love the way I needed it. Now, a year later, second chapter literacy program is real. We operate out of 3 community centers in Portland with 15 volunteer tutors and 42 adult students. Mr. Henderson serves on our board. Dr. Chen advises on grants. Jason, Marcus, and Priya all volunteer. And every Tuesday, Dad shows up to help with administrative work. Never thought I'd be doing paperwork for a nonprofit, he jokes. But it turns out, helping people build better lives is pretty satisfying. Last month, our first student, a 53-year-old grandmother named Rosa, read a complete book aloud to her grandchildren for the first time. Watching her face, seeing that pride and joy, I understood exactly why I'd fought so hard. Everyone said I'd never earn my father's respect. They were wrong. But what I learned is that I had to earn my own respect first. I had to believe I was worthy of a second chapter, of new dreams. The night Dad showed up at my presentation and told me he was proud, that changed everything. But the real change had already happened inside me, one difficult class at a time. I'm 63 now, and I'm not done yet. There are more students to help, more programs to develop, more chapters to write. And now, I write them knowing I am enough, I always was, and it's never too late to become who you were meant to be. My father knows that now too, and that makes all the difference.